All right, now we're going to learn how to calculate the standard deviation of a series of prices. So, right now what we have are prices. We cannot use prices as our information to do a standard deviation. So we have to first transform our prices into returns. Now these are weekly observations, so we're going to calculate the weekly return of this ETF, which is SPY, which represents the S&P 500. So what we want to do to calculate the return is take the ending price minus the beginning price divided by the beginning price. So that formula in Excel, you hit equal, you create a parentheses. Our ending price was cell B4. Our beginning price was cell B3. And we want to divide by our beginning price. So we end up with this negative 0.133%. Now, we can transform this into percentages by going up to this and making it a percent, and then we want to go out a little bit further, add a few more decimal places. Now, once we have one of them, let's make sure this makes sense. So we started the week at 238. We ended the week at 234. Yeah, it went down about 1%, so that makes sense. And so to copy and paste that whole, we can redo that formula 104 times in this case, or we can just click on this button, this kind of on the corner, and what this does is this transforms that function for all the observations. So now we have a weekly return for SPY for the last 2 years. So we have weekly return for 2 years. So now we can label this return. So now we have all the returns. Now in order to calculate standard deviation, we have to have returns. We have our returns. This becomes a very, very simple function in Excel. We go down, we can label this standard deviation. And in Excel, we hit equal, and they have a very easy to use function. Now, the one thing we do have to make a decision about is this a sample or a population. So we took observations for 2 years. That's clearly not all of SPY's observations. So it's a sample. So we hit this standard deviation of a sample. Now we want to make sure we highlight every weekly return. So we highlight all the weekly returns, and we hit enter. What we have now is the standard deviation of weekly returns for SPY. You can calculate the standard deviation now of any security, any mutual fund, any index.